Simon Jeffery, I'm Deputy Head of International News at The Guardian. What I do in my role is we run an international news operation, so we're trying to find out what's happening around the world. We have a team of correspondents and reporters who are based in different countries. We talk to them each morning and we discuss what are the sort of news events to cover, how they should cover them, where they should go, what if they should travel, who we need to speak to. And I think overall we kind of see our role as trying to help people to understand the world and some of the kind of issues that may directly affect them or may not directly affect them, but they just want to know about what's happening in other countries. The thing I like most about my job is it's kind of something I'd be interested in even if I wasn't doing this job. So sort of world affairs, news, always fascinated me, even from sort of being a teenager or perhaps even younger than that. One of my colleagues sometimes says, it's amazing that our job is to come in something we'd probably do in our spare time anyway. And I guess it's very stimulating. I'm always learning. It's a fascinating world out there, and it's a privilege to be able to find out more. The job day today is I get into work either at about 9 AM or about 7 AM, depending on sort of how my day is skewed. I sort of begin. Probably before that, actually, I sort of begin by reading sort of news apps on my phone on the way into work. I'll check for emails when I come in. Sort of either if I'm in at 7, we have a team who work in Sydney, and I talk to them and get a handover for the day. Then I start talking to reporters again and editing stories and commissioning stories. If I'm in at 9, someone else has already done that, so I'm discussing them what's happened so far, and we're thinking about the day ahead and what it is but we need to do, if there's any angles we haven't explored yet, other stories we need to cover, or people who we need to talk to. And then the rest of the day you're kind of following through on that. Hopefully what you've commissioned starts to arrive and you start to edit it and get it on the website of the newspaper, but then of course things happen that you didn't expect, so all your plans get ripped up. And at 2:30 AM, you're kind of 2:30 PM rather, you're just starting again, or perhaps even later. I studied English literature at university after doing A-levels in English, history and sociology because I liked books. I didn't really have any I hadn't necessarily thought through what I'd do afterwards, but I liked writing. I thought that was a skill of mine, and I saw that as kind of a way to continue reading books I enjoyed doing, and also to kind of learn more about language. After that, I did a postgraduate diploma in journalism in London, which from then I sort of started in my first job. My first job was actually working for the Guardian's website when it was sort of a tiny thing of 20 people. Because of one and only new media trainee, so I sort of did reporting, learned a very basic coding, and from there I kind of became a more conventional reporter, and from reporting I went into news editing, so I went from sort of writing stories that people asked me to write to asking people to write stories, which most news editors start off that route actually, because you kind of need to understand how a story works and what as a reporter you can achieve in a day, so you're not asking people to do impossible things, but of course then you do ask people to do impossible things that they kind of do them as well, so and I kind of then more specialised in international news, which is what I've been doing for the last 5 or 6 years. I find a really big difference between school and sort of work, whereas school, it's kind of, people just mention you have a stammer, people talk about it all the time, that, you just can't, you can't escape that. After school, no one's ever really mentioned it, and actually my stammer didn't get any better at that period. It kind of was quite severe till my mid-20s, when I did a sort of very effective sort of group speech for every course, but I guess the important thing is sort of doing the job is kind of more important than talking, and if people value what you're doing, then they will listen to what you're saying. There's times when I haven't spoken, when I should have spoken, but then sometimes I've been more reflective when maybe that's been a good thing, and I think it just I haven't said it doesn't define me. I think also it's kind of becomes slightly inseparable from who I am and how I approach things. Like I do probably think and reflect more deeply. I kind of, when I speak, I want to make sure I have something to say. I was used to sometimes sitting meetings and see colleagues and thinking they're not actually saying anything, they're just making noise, and I never did that. So I guess it gives you a different approach to life, maybe. But sometimes that's a strength.